Hello and welcome to the Fashion Channel. I am so excited that I am able to make these videos and bring it to you. So if you are a fashion designer, or you're trying to be a fashion designer, or you're a design student, or you just want to know more about this business, then you are at the right place. So thank you, and let's go straight to the lessons, and I hope you enjoy and learn something.
Design process. What is design process? Design process can be defined very loosely as how you work in design. In the fashion design arena, we follow design rules. We basically know the rules, we learn it, and then we tastefully break it so that way we can adapt it, choose it, go up, down, sideways, front, back, to suit our need. Design process basically can also be defined as industry process, meaning if you're working in the car manufacturing area or in the car design area, there are some rules that you have to follow. If you are working in the art world, there are some rules you may have to follow, learning how to mix paint and color, stuff like that. But in the fashion business, we are talking about art that moves. When we make clothes, we are making art, right? But once the customer wears this art and when she walks or he walks, the art is actually moving. In our design process, we must understand that when we are sketching out ideas, we are sketching out fantastic ideas, but we don't know how it's going to be when somebody wears it and walks about. Okay, so now let's go back to design process a little bit. There are two things on design process I want to talk to you about, just two things. Now, the first one is, when are you creative the most? Now that is important because some of us are not very creative in the morning, but afternoon, we are. Some of us are very creative 3 o'clock in the morning. All day we cannot do anything, but once evening starts, we tend to be more creative. So each one of us has a very unique blueprint on ourselves, on how we actually work. Some people love to wake up early in the morning and start work. Some people are more interested working in the evening till late 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. So, design process, the first part would be finding out when is the best time that you work. And a nice way to do this, I'll give the example, is for 3 weeks, jot down how you work. You will notice that there is a pattern. That means Monday, you're not designing. But Tuesday, Wednesday, you're designing really well. And then Thursday, you're like finishing up designs maybe. And then the following Monday, again, you're not designing, but Tuesday, Wednesday, you tend to be designing very well. There tends to be a pattern of how you work. Everybody is like that. Some people will work beautifully for the whole week, and then they will take the following week off because they just don't feel that creative juice, running around in their body anymore. And then the following week after that, they may have watched a movie, or they went to an art exhibit, or they were just talking some subject matter with somebody and they were talking about a movie, scenario, costumes, and suddenly they were like, oh wow, this is a great idea, I could do something like that. So things kind of change. So when you are actually doing a design process for yourself, basically first you find out when is the best time that you design. Then the second one is how you design. Some design companies, for example, I can talk about Perry Ellis. I used to work there many, many years ago, of course. And even though at Perry Ellis they would design stuff, nothing was really firmed up till the fabric came in. Once the fabric came in, it's like everybody went back to the drawing board. They had some designs last week. No, we're not using that anymore. Here are the fabrics. Let's redesign everything. It was unbelievable. I was like, so why did we design all this time if we knew that we were going to scrap everything, throw it all aside, and redo the whole thing again because the fabric just came in, right? So different companies work very differently. If you look at Isaac Mizrahi, He will make like so many sketches. Some things work, some things don't work, it doesn't matter. He will just do it. Then he will put everything on the wall, and this is the same thing that I also experienced in Tommy Hilfiger. Everybody would design and put everything on the wall, and Tommy would walk up and down and say, okay, we're going to work on this. No, we're not working on this yet. Okay, we're working on that. Those are really cool. Let's get those working on right away. Mizrahi would do the same thing too. Throw everything on the wall and go later, the next day or next week, and he'd be going through and he'd start pulling out the stuff that he likes. Dolce & Gabbana also does the same thing. They will design, both of them, separately or together, and they throw everything on the wall. And then during their design meetings, they will go through and they'll say, all right, we got to do these. We got to do these. These are not good. Let's keep it one side in a binder, and maybe we will do this next season. But right now we're going to work on these. We're going to focus on these. Or they may just take one idea and say, okay, this is great. Let's make 5 different idea versions from that one single idea. So design process is very different from everybody. My design process is I like working with material. To me, I have a very good idea of how my fashion is going to be, but I'm more excited when I have the fabric in front of me. Once I have the fabric in front of me, I'm like, okay, I'm on a jet plane. I can like really take off because now I have the material. I know exactly how to dance my design ideas with that material and try to find a balance so that it works. Have you noticed sometimes as a designer, as a design student maybe, you would make sketches, and these sketches are really good, and they're approved because they look very pretty, and then you start making the garments, and honestly, there's a big difference between your sketches and the garment. Have you noticed that? I think that's a wrong way of designing. I think there must be a play between the two. You should design on sketch, and then you should try to play with the garment using muslin if you like. If you don't want to spend money cutting the real fabric, you buy a muslin fabric, which is a cheap fabric, and you can play with shapes, based on your design, and try to find the balance between the two. Most students I see, they will take the sketch, and the design must look exactly like the sketch. Now the sketch looks really nice, but the design is not working when you're putting it on a model. There is something wrong. I think that is not the right design process. There must be a dance between your sketch and the garment. Remember, at the end of the day, you are not selling the sketch, you are selling the garment. Remember that. Till today, I have not gone to any shop, I have not heard of any couture designer or big designer or even small designer, or maybe you could be the one to do that, here is the garment that you bought and you spent $12,000 on it, and here is the original sketch which I'm going to autograph for you. I have never heard Yves Saint Laurent do that. I have not heard Christian Dior do that. I have never heard Chanel do that, where did Chanel tell the client, here's the garment that you bought and you paid, let's say, $3,000 for this nice little Chanel suit, and here's the original sketch by Chanel, and I'm going to sign it and I'm going to give it to you and you can frame it and keep it on your wall. That has never happened. What does that mean? It basically means the sketch is just a sketch. It's the garment that where all the focus has to be. If the garment works, then that sketch can just be kept aside. There is no reason for you to think that the sketch and the garment has to really match. I'm not sure where this came from. When I went to school, even our teachers also said the same thing. Yes, you're sketching, but the bottom line is, how does the garment work? If the garment works, then your design process is correct. Your design process is correct if the garment works. You cannot go into a design meeting and say, the garment doesn't look nice, but look at my sketch. It looks so super, so pretty. The pink is beautiful. I spent 1 hour making all those tiny little flowers on the sketch, and the garment doesn't look so nice, but you see my sketch looks so nice. Please, we are not in that business. We are dressmakers. We are dressmakers. We make clothes, we sell clothes. We do not make artwork and sell artwork. So please, don't get into that box where you're thinking that the sketch is everything. The sketch is important, don't get me wrong, the sketch is important, but the sketch is step 1. Your garment is the final step. When the garment is good, then the sketch is just a sketch. At the end of the day, you're selling the garment, not the sketch. So that should be your design process. The process of designing for oneself, for you, is how does my garment look? How does my garment look? Does my garment look good? Be honest with yourself. If it looks good, done. Your job is done. But if it doesn't look good, then you need to work at it. You want to take a break? Go walk around the block 2,000 times, have a drink, coffee, come back and fix the garment. That is your job. That is the job of a true fashion designer. That is the meaning of everything that what we are doing. So our design process must also be in tuned to this. It's not about the sketch, it's about the garment.